Hello and good evening to everyone. Welcome back to day 2 of Learn to Meditate session. And today's session will again be a mix of some spiritual knowledge and meditation practices. I hope you got the recordings link on which you could access the recordings. They are also available live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. There are also handouts which have been put on the same link on our website where the recordings are available. You could have a look at the handouts and practice what is being taught to all of us here. And feel free to ask any questions via chat if you want it to be answered in today's session. If you had any comments or suggestions or even reflections of from your practice yesterday, or anything that was shared yesterday from those, if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat box. You could also send us an email um, if if the questions arise later, and we would take it up in the next session. We would answer them in the next session. So maybe we could start with short meditation. And we start with sitting comfortably in a relaxed position with the back straight and an aim to pay attention to the inner being. We relax our body, relax the head, the facial muscles, the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the fingers, the stomach, and the back. Just relax the legs, and feel all the tensions going away through the feet into the ground. As we become aware of the external surroundings, we aim to keep our mind free by gently accepting the things around us, the people around us, just the way they are. We accept even the thoughts that are in the mind as they are. And very gradually, we withdraw our attention from the external to connect to that being of light, the guest who's the life force sitting behind the eyes and using the organs It is this being of light that is running the body, but his existence is separate from the body, separate from this physical world. And we take this journey of the invisible traveler whose true existence is in the non physical dimension, a world far away from this physical dimension. And we see and approach the physical world in the awareness of a guest just coming into the physical world for a short period of time. We aim to stay in this awareness of a guest through the next hour. Thank you. And Just before we move on with the today's session, just wanted to quickly revise what was covered yesterday. So, yesterday we saw that we are learning Raj Yoga meditation in this course, and it answers Raj Yoga meditation answers a very fundamental question of the human existence, which is who am I? And this I, we said, can be explained with this term, which is human being. And the human part is the one that is existing in the physical dimension. The human is the one that is interacting with various aspects in the environment, like the relationships or the nation and the government. There are hobbies, there are objects like the house and the car, there is money and job. And in all these interactions, what we have come to become is that we have become very externally focused, outwardly focused, and we have started to identify with these things around us, the things that we are interacting with, in such a manner that we have uh, started to identify and started to even think of the I as these objects and things around us. And we will be looking more in detail of how this process happens. But we also learned that the true being uh, who is operating this body and who's interacting with these objects is not from this physical dimension. That being, the inner being, the living being, is from a non physical dimension. And the living being, the life force who's operating the body, can be referred in many ways, like the soul, the being of light, the star, or spirit. So, uh, this being of light comes into the physical world, travels through the physical world, and then there is definitely an exit. So, this was a quick recap from yesterday, and I would now like to invite Sister Rona to take us through the rest of the course today.
Thank you. And good evening, everyone. Is the sound okay?
Yes, sister.
Is Nikhil with us? Nikhil?
Yeah, I'm here, Sister Anna.
Nikhil, would you just quickly, in a few lines, introduce yourself so that everyone knows you and what you're doing? They kind of heard yesterday, but is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. As you may know, I've been typing in
A
chat.
little louder.
Okay, as you may know, I've been typing in chat and summarizing what Sister Rona and Sister Kanupriya are saying. My name is Nikhil, and I've been with this knowledge for a few years now, and I've also been trying to practice this stage of a life force. And it's beautiful to see all the teachings again and again and really revise, these teachings of the life force, the spirit, the star.
Mm. And would you like to share your age?
Sure. I'm 14.
Nikhil is 14 years old, and deep interest in this wisdom and certain practices, which is kind of amazing. Very good. Okay, and maybe later or at the end, if Matilda can also introduce herself so that everyone knows the theme. Thanks. Okay, so that was a nice recap from Kanupriya. One aspect of meditation is, and one of the motivating factors for many of us to want to meditate, is this deeper longing to experience a certain calm, a certain peace, and a certain peace of mind. And maybe even further, wanting a certain mastery over the mind. And definitely meditation is the tool for that, but it has to be combined with spiritual insights. Now, you could say spiritual insights, spiritual wisdom has to be acquired, and then the meditation is the experience of that spiritual knowledge. So, for example, we had said yesterday, the soul, the inner being, the being of consciousness is a traveler. No? And all of this physical world is like an extra experience. Now, this is spiritual knowledge. Now, meditation is the process of digesting that and making that your own so that it becomes an experience. It as if wakes up latent memories in our consciousness, and that experience of the self being this invisible traveler becomes a certain, translates in a certain feeling. And for example, the feelings of a traveler are feelings of freedom, feelings of lightness, feelings of appreciation. Everything is like an extra gift. No, there is a chair here, there is a mic here, there is a board here, there is light. For a traveler, it is, oh wow, this is nice, this is new, this is extra. And if the soul, if there is the experience of the soul being the traveler, even this body is, oh wow, this is like extra gift, a little miracle in itself. And a traveler also doesn't get caught up and trapped. A traveler moves on, doesn't hold on to things, appreciates every interaction as new, as a gift, as extra, or as an adventure, or as a new challenge. So meditation means this spiritual knowledge becomes internalized. It becomes your perspective. It becomes your way of seeing things and feeling, and the experience comes then. Now, what is the benefit of this, you would say? Why should I go into meditation? There is a deeper benefit that we all consciously or subconsciously long for. Now, we want peace, yes. We want to experience certain joy and lightness. We want to love and be loved and be loving. We long for certain justice and equality. We long for freedom. But as long as our minds are trapped here, and trapped means attached, dependent, identifying, all of those experiences can only be temporary. So, say for example, I feel peace because someone is with me. Then where does that peace go if that person is not with me? Say I feel happy and content because there is money. What happens when there is no money? Or money becomes less in value? Or things that I want to get with that money are not available no matter how much money I have. Then my peace and my joy diminishes. It means I get dependent and I get attached to things external to self for peace, for happiness. And why are we looking for that peace and for that happiness? Why are we using all those things? Because at the root of it all is we want to feel secure. And this is like a key experience. Much of the motivation behind our actions, much of the motivation behind our aspirations and our strivings and our ventures is deeper inside. We want to feel secure. And when we truly are secure, we are calm. And it is easy to experience peace. When we feel secure, then we can love and we can experience love. When we are secure, then we can be happy. Then we can treat others with respect and feel respected. Then we are more easily experiencing a sense of equality and freedom when we feel secure. Now, if we constantly depend on things that are changing to feel secure, that is an impossibility. Now, we live in a world that is changing all the time, and it is changing unpredictably, and it is changing without your asking your permission also. Now, the weather can change anytime, your social circumstances can change anytime, the health situation of this body can change anytime. Your economic circumstances can change anytime. Political circumstances can change. This world is a world of change. Change is a law, and change that is unpredictable is a law in this world. Now, in this unpredictably, constantly changing world, if we try to rely on it to feel secure, we will exhaust ourselves and never truly reach it. I might feel secure for a short period of time until something happens, but even that short period of time might not be the depth of security and peace that is truly possible, because I have no guarantee for tomorrow. So for that deeper sense of calm, for those higher and refined experiences that we truly long for a certain sense of harmony, we need to go to a different level to experience being secure. And this is what meditation practice offers and spiritual understandings offer. First of all, and we touched on that yesterday already, it says shift your sense of self from physical to non-physical. You are not the body. You are the being that is a guest in this body, the being that is a guest on this planet. And this being is not physical, is consciousness. And one of the characteristics of physical things is they have a beginning and an end. Things that are things that are non-physical do not necessarily have a beginning and an end because they're not made of matter that has a beginning and an end. So this is an experience, but the experiencer is separate from the experience, and the experience may have a beginning and an end, but the experiencer transcends the beginning and the end of the experiencer. To give a simplified example, there is a musician who makes music. And so the song or the musical piece is played, and the musical piece has a beginning and has an end. But the musician doesn't begin with the beginning of the music and doesn't end with the end of the music. So in the same way, this higher being, this invisible, spiritual guest or traveler, does not begin with the beginning of the journey and does not end with the end of the journey. And so, if there is a beginning of this body, the soul already exists. And the end of this body doesn't mean the end of the soul. The soul continues, even when the body has come to the end of its lifespan. And so the beginning and the end of things in the physical world, of situations, of interactions in the physical world do not define the beginning or the end of who you are. And so this sense of transcending the limitations of matter, getting to a sense of timelessness and touching on that sense of being immortal. Body is mortal, but the soul doesn't die with the death of the body. And whatever happens to the body and whatever happens to things and situations at this level, it does not affect the immortality of the true self, the soul. And so this experience of timelessness, of immortality, is a big ingredient of feeling secure. Immortal, or in a nice word for this is timeless. So time doesn't affect the spirit, the soul. Another aspect is our feelings of fear and insecurity are deeply connected with death and dying. but also deeply connected with feelings of loss. The sense that I have lost something or that I can lose something. Now, in this model, spiritual knowledge says, you are here as a visitor. All of these things are entrusted to you for a temporary period of time, including this body. But you don't own anything. Even this body is not truly mine, it belongs to nature. So if we don't own anything, we cannot lose anything either. So nothing and no one can be lost. Because it wasn't mine in the first place to lose. We have just come to this physical world as visitors, as guests. And as a guest, you can appreciate, you can interact, you can share, you can care, you can take care of, but you don't own. And so you cannot truly lose anything. And if we cannot lose anything and not own anything, we cannot truly own anyone either, which is another part of our wrong set of beliefs, set of wrong beliefs that we somehow entered into. We have forgotten ourselves, we have forgotten where we come from, and we started to think, this is I, and this is mine, 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 and this is I. And so there is this constant sense of insecurity, because anytime, anything can be lost, because all of this is perishable. So the creation of attachments and identities based on things that are perishable is what is called ego. We have created false sense of self. And because of that, we can, at different levels, but all the time, feel insecure. And when we are insecure, it is not possible to truly be peaceful. It is not possible to truly be happy. It is not possible to truly love. And so in the meditation, coming out of that false sense of self and waking up again to the awareness of being that invisible spiritual presence, being of consciousness, soul, who is immortal, who has come from another dimension, and we are just visiting here. Don't own anything here, can't lose anything because it was extra. It is a temporary gift to appreciate, to enjoy, to play with, to learn from, to interact. But journey goes on. Nothing is mine. Like clouds, no? You appreciate them, it looks nice, but you don't hold on to that cloud and say, oh, it is my cloud and I want it forever. And it has to be like that all the time. No, it moves on. Doesn't mean you can't appreciate. But another cloud is also nice, and no cloud is also fine. Same way. Truly, that is the nature of this world. And if we position ourselves like that, then we can start to discover the inner treasures that are there, dropping all these attachments and dependencies and bondages is a better word, even these wrong belief systems And we come back to the self as a spiritual being, living tiny star, immortal being, timeless being, a being who has come from a different dimension and is having this nature that is different from that state of insecurity where we always need something or want something or desire something or grasp something or long for something. A being that is full and complete and is just visiting, such a calm comes. And so to play with these different awarenesses or what would it be? Yeah, states of awarenesses, and helps us come out of this body conscious identity and move into that soul conscious identity. So let us try for a few minutes at this moment in the meditation. And just for a few minutes, we accept everything external as it is. Don't worry, everything will be there after a few minutes still. There may be noise and movement and some sense just accept and withdraw the attention. And remind the self that the one who is experiencing everything is not visible. Inner being is like an invisible presence with consciousness and the power of thought and feelings and experiences come from that invisible spiritual being, the soul. Body is a tool, a vehicle. And we just, in a gentle way, focus the attention on that subtle being of light. And we can use the image of a tiny star. One who is a guest. One who is like a driver of this vehicle, the soul. A timeless being, immortal being, divine in nature. Secure and free. And as we go through the rest of the evening, just aim to, as if in the mind, hold that awareness of the soul, the real self, observing the body and observing the physical dimension. Thank you. Now, another aspect of being secure or experiencing security is being aware of our roots, being aware of where we have come from and where we will go. Part of being secure is knowing the true self, and knowing the true self as being imperishable, and knowing the true self as a being that is complete and full and doesn't need anything, doesn't own anything, and doesn't lose anything. That is one area. But another area of the experience of security is knowing a deeper awareness of where we have come from and where we are going. And I'll just use a simple sketch for that. If this is the physical world, if this box represents the physical world, and so in this box is everything, the planet Earth and all the planets and the different galaxies and the moon and the sun and the past, the present, the future, everything, the physical world is in this box. Bodies, and objects, and the sun, and the animal kingdom. This is birds and dollars and the gadgets and electricity and history, and all of it is in this box, the physical world. And there is the invisible experiencer, the guest who is associating with a body to experience all of that, to interact, to play a part. But this being, the invisible traveler, has come from a different dimension beyond matter. A world of consciousness, a world of light and silence. And this being travels, enters the physical world, and at some stage leaves the physical world. And we call this box and the play that is acted out there, we call it drama. And the soul is an actor, and the body is the costume, the mask, the character that is being acted out. And this drama is extra. And this is like a field of action, a play. And the inner being, this invisible traveler, the soul, has come from this other dimension, which is called home. Home of souls, or the soul world, or Nirvana. Nirvana means the world beyond sound, the world beyond matter, the world of pure consciousness. And the experience of this state is there is stillness, there is no movement, there is no matter, so no bodies. So it is timeless. It is beyond time. It is also beyond change. So it is the experience in that state of awareness of home is of silence, of stillness, of timelessness, of being beyond change, a deeper sense of calm, but also a sense of belonging. We have come from here, experienced this drama of human life, and at the end, when the drama is finished, when the story has ended, the curtains fall, you could say, soul comes back home. Now, a next phase to explore in your meditation is this awareness of the bigger picture and the memories, waking up the memories again of home, experiencing that state of pure, bodiless being of light, eternal, immortal soul as a tiny star in a dimension of silence and light. And what is beautiful is all our souls. Now we are not only thinking of ourselves in terms of body, like male and female, or in terms of the color of our skin, or in terms of the nationality, and we are also thinking of others in terms of their physical appearance. But truly, behind there is a soul also. And all are souls. And all belong to this dimension of silence and light, the home of peace, the home of absolute security, a dimension of belonging and pure stillness, home of the family of souls. And growing again in this awareness, experiencing this state in our meditation brings us even deeper into the experience of being secure and belonging. This is also called as the home of peace, the home of bliss, the dimension of purity. There are many different names that are given to this dimension of silence and light. It is like a place where we have all come from. We come here, play our parts, interact, play, learn. But what has happened with us is we've forgotten ourselves and we've forgotten this. And we've started to identify and get trapped here. And we have made this our whole existence. But this is changing and it is unpredictable. So we always feel insecure if we don't see and understand and re-experience again the bigger picture. Okay, so let's have a meditation again, and then there may be some time for questions, if there are questions. And so there are the first, to start your meditation process, no? To use that first, you could call it step. No? Step one is to withdraw your attention from the physical. withdraw the attention and shift the attention away from the physical and the tangible to the invisible. And waking up, becoming aware of the self as this invisible observer, this invisible experiencer. And we don't need to rush that. Take your time to get familiar with this you could call it power, this ability to shift your attention from the external to the internal, from the physical to the invisible. And just become aware. So for a few moments, just actively bring your attention in this present moment. And one easy way is to become aware consciously, actively become aware of the body and the position of the body. Become aware of the heartbeat. Become aware of the breathing, inhalation, exhalation, and just aware of how air is pulled into the lungs and how it is pushed out of the lungs. And that same function, use it to create that sense of awareness that here is an invisible experiencer who is experiencing this body. If there is some tension somewhere there in the body, there is someone who is experiencing that. That being is the real self, the soul. Can't see with these eyes, can't touch with these hands, but very real. The one who is creating thoughts, having different feelings and emotions. The soul. This is the real self. And we also are aware that this invisible experiencer is a guest in this body, a guest in this world. And this guest now remembers the home, the world beyond this box of matter, a dimension of silence, dimension of light, home of stillness, home of peace, home of the soul, home of the family of souls. And if there is any noise of movement, it is in that far, far distant box. Even the body is in that far, far distant box. And the image that we can hold in the mind is of a tiny star in that timeless, infinite expanse of silence and light. This is the world of our roots, of our origin, the world of the soul. before we traveled into the expansion of the world of matter. This is the home of eternity. Bodiless, immortal, timeless beings of light. And as we gradually come to the end of this experiment, this broadening of our perspective, the aim is to hold this bigger map of our existence as a soul. Om Shanti. And so just a final comment before we open up for questions, if there are questions. This process of meditation, like Kanupriya was saying yesterday, it is fun, but at the same time, it has this element of accuracy, and these are deep and higher concepts. But at the same time, it is fun to explore. It is fun to experiment. It is fun to discover the potential of your mind. And it is fun to discover your spiritual origins, coming back home. And these experiences wake up that awareness of our fullness and our wholeness. And it frees us from these limited false beliefs about ourselves that keep us trapped and in bondage in the box. But a few simple steps to help you in this process until you refine it and it becomes natural is the first step is to consciously shift your attention from the physical and the tangible and the external to the invisible, the intangible. Just create that awareness. Here is this body and it's the inner being. And that inner being has his world. And so the second step is you choose a certain topic or theme. For example, timelessness is a theme, or guest is a theme, or tiny star is a theme. And you go into that experience by concentrating on it. And concentrating means just other thoughts for 1 minute. You don't pay attention to them. They come, but you just let them go. You don't create a second thought. Hold that thought and that image. Okay. Are there any questions or comments? Time goes so fast when you're experiencing timelessness.
There are quite a few questions. I think there are around 4 or 5.
Okay. Maybe we can start with one and see how far we go.
The first question is, instead of sitting on a chair, could we sit down in any comfortable position? And I think this means during meditation.
Yeah, of course. Anything that feels comfortable, no? But the suggestion is not to lie down or on bed, because then it becomes more easy to go to sleep. And so take a position that is comfortable, but that helps you remain alert. Sitting down, aiming to have the back straight. Doesn't have to be in a chair, can be on the ground also. But aim to have a physical position that helps alertness. And if you need to sleep, then sleep. It's not good to be sleep deprived. Yeah, any?
Yeah, we have a few more. I think we have time for maybe one more.
Mm.
When I meditate, the thoughts overwhelm me, and after 10 minutes, my brain gets tired and I fall asleep. How to avoid falling into sleep?
Mm. Mm. A little bit, the previous answer already went into that direction. Many of us are not very balanced in our sleep and waking rhythms. And so it is very well possible that we don't sleep enough. And even if we sleep enough, that there is not necessarily proper quality of sleep. And so the way to not fall asleep during meditation, first that step that I need to take is make sure I get enough sleep and good quality of sleep. And good quality of sleep has to do with the quality of my thoughts during the day. So have this practice of checking your thoughts during the day. And when you see that you go into useless thinking or negative thinking, quickly shift it away and come to more positive or more constructive thinking. You will see that will help your mental energy. But also, before going to bed, don't watch television for hours and or be on screens. At least 1 or 2 hours before going to bed. Focus on something more sustaining, something or some spiritual themes. Read or do some writing instead of just absorbing the emotions and the actions from some television screen or films. So all those things help in creating quality of sleep, but we need a little bit of a discipline in that area. And so then when we sit for meditation, there is not that tiredness, first of all, but also because during the day and during your ongoing daily activity, you have been practicing to observe your thoughts and shift them in different directions. When you truly sit for the meditation, it will become more easy to go into that state where you have more control over your thoughts and shift away from those thoughts of the physical. And thoughts that are overwhelming means there is some attachment and some ego there that is obsessed with certain types of themes, and thoughts come from that. So more during the day, you kind of play with that perspective of guest, traveler. It will help diminish the power that those thoughts have on our mind. So those are some things to not fall asleep and not feel overwhelmed with those thoughts that then also make you more tired. Play with this perspective, for example, repeatedly during the day. make a sketch like this for yourself. Make a sketch like this and remind yourself of the temporary nature of all of this. So why think of it and why get trapped into it? Repeatedly bring yourself to a bigger, broader perspective. During the day when you're walking or when you're taking shower or in your breaks at work, take 1 minute, 2 minutes to as if interrupt that that nature, that habit of mind being trapped and absorbed in things. Just pull back, time out, bigger picture. You as if break that spell or that those thoughts, obsessive thoughts have. And then when you sit for meditation, it becomes easier. Okay, so the other questions we will hold for tomorrow. Okay, so let's close with a moment of silence. And in that silence, just try and reflect on this. And try and reflect on that thought that the living star is a visitor in the box, and that there is an exit, and that there is a home. Thank you. And maybe have this as kind of a practice for the next 24 hours. Aim to make this sketch, those 2 sketches for yourself. Make them at home and maybe stick it on the wall somewhere. And if you are at work, also make a sketch, stick it on your computer, and remind yourself from time to time, once every hour or once every 2 hours, the spiritual perspective, the bigger map. And come back to that awareness of the invisible guest, invisible experiencer, invisible traveler. Thank you, and see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, Sister Rona, for the wonderful class.